Hey friends, College Essay Guy here. So today I want to talk to you about brainstorming. How do you find a topic that works? I want to start off by sharing with you why I tell students to pretty much ignore the Common App personal statement prompts as a starting point for the essay. Then I want to talk to you about what makes a great topic. After that, I'll share a quick assessment that'll help you decide, if you have a topic in mind, whether or not that topic is likely to help you stand out. I'll talk to you about some of the most common personal statement topics that I wouldn't necessarily recommend if you're writing your personal statement. Then I'll share with you 3 exercises that are pretty simple, but will help you generate a pretty broad list of topics. I'll talk to you about how each of those different exercises led to actual great personal statements. And finally, I'll share with you a quick tip for those of you who are overthinkers like me. If that's you, stay tuned to the end of the video. I've got something to say to you. All right, let's do this. So the reason I tell students to pretty much ignore the prompts for the Common App personal statement is that I feel like it puts you in the wrong headspace. And if you're starting to generate ideas for a creative piece, in this case, your personal statement, I think thinking about what they want is gonna maybe run you into trouble here. Give you a quick example. If I was trying to decide what shirt to wear this morning, if I tried to think about, okay, well, what would X, Y, and Z persons, what would everybody like the most? Then I think it's gonna get me out of myself and thinking about, well, what does everybody else want and trying to please them. So rather than think about the prompts, in this case, for the personal statement, I want you to start with great brainstorming exercises that'll get you inwardly focused about what you have to offer. And I'll show those exercises in a few minutes. Another question students often ask is, what makes a great topic? And simply put, I feel like a great personal statement topic is one that allows you to demonstrate the skills, qualities, values, and interests that you're gonna bring with you to a college campus. Now, I'm about to share with you an assessment for deciding if your topic might help you stand out or not. But before I do that, a few quick caveats. Number one, there's no perfect answer for this because this is really more art than science. Second, the way that you can determine if a topic is gonna work is, if you're me or you're a counselor, was probably developed over reading hundreds or more likely thousands of essays. And third, the biases that I'm about to share with you are mine only. So not every admissions reader is gonna agree with what I'm about to tell you, but hopefully this is gonna give you some sense in a few minutes of how to know if your topic's gonna work or not. So first of all, it depends on the kind of structure that you're using. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you've heard me talk about narrative structure and montage structure. So narrative structure is basically if you're writing about a challenge or a series of challenges and what you did to overcome those. And montage structure is if you're writing about a set of experiences, skills, qualities, values, and you're finding some thematic thread to connect them. So if you're trying to determine, let's start with montage, if a montage essay is gonna stand out, the 2 qualities that I look for are, number 1, is your topic elastic? And I'll explain that in a second. And number 2, is your topic somewhat, hopefully, uncommon? So what do I mean by elastic? I'm talking about topics that are stretchy enough to talk about lots of different sides of you. For example, for me, one of the things I know a lot about is, self-help books. I could probably write a pretty good essay on self-help books because I've read a bunch of them. Whereas I haven't read many books on gardening. Gardening probably wouldn't be as good of an essay topic for me because it's not as elastic. I can't stretch it to talk about a bunch of different values or sides of me. Now, when it comes to thinking about this for your own essay, it's not like a certain topic is elastic or is not elastic. It's not binary like that. It's usually on a spectrum. So if you imagine on a spectrum, elasticity, where we've got very elastic topics, which is to say stretchy enough to talk about lots of sides of you on this side of the spectrum, and we've got less stretchy topics here. And then we've got the other thing I mentioned, how common your topic is, with common topics down here and uncommon topics up here. You can kind of chart these on X and Y axes. I know this is like super math all of a sudden, but we're kind of looking for topics that are maybe more elastic and more uncommon. Okay, an example of that would be a student who I met not too long ago who wrote about parkour. And this was something that he'd spent a lot of time doing, so it was very elastic, and it was somewhat uncommon because not a lot of students write about parkour. Now, having said this, it's still possible to stand out with a common topic that's very elastic. Cooking, for example, might be an essay topic that is, pretty common, but if you can connect it to lots of different sides of you, it could be a pretty cool topic. Now, second, we've got narrative essays, which is to say essays that are primarily about a challenge or a series of challenges you've been through. The first quality I look for is, are these compelling challenges? And the second quality I look for is, Is there insight in the essay that's wow? Now, how do we chart those? Again, kind of a similar x-axis. We've got essays that are on compelling challenges, and it's up to you to kind of decide what a compelling challenge is. And then we've got less compelling challenges. But to give you a sense of this, students sometimes write about extreme challenges, experiences they've been through with their family. Some have experienced, really tough things. And then you've got students who've written about things like, oh, I, got a bad grade in physics, which is like not as compelling. And then you've got insights that range from wow to like, oh my gosh, that's an incredible thing to learn from this experience, to like, that's kind of what I expected you to say. So again, you can kind of use this graph to determine whether or not your essay is likely to stand out. Having said this, with a narrative essay, I have seen essays that are on not too compelling challenges work, but the level of craft, which is to say, the details and the language they used was very high and in some cases pretty funny. And I've also seen essays that had just okay insights at the start be leveled up over the process of writing. So an essay that initially was like just okay insights improved the insights along the way and turned out to be a pretty great essay. So you're probably wondering, okay, Ethan, you're talking about common topics. What are these common topics? The three most common ones that I see are, number one, students writing about common sports or extracurricular activities. And I'm talking here about, basketball, football, soccer activities. I'm talking about, volunteering at a hospital. In fact, you know what? Let me just give you a whole list. Check it out. So baseball, basketball, Boy Scouts, debate, filmmaking, music, Model United Nations, marching band, track and field, student government. I'm sharing these with you not to say that you 100% shouldn't write about these, but I would maybe steer away from writing about these common topics because number one, a lot of students are writing about them, so it's harder to stand out. And number two, oftentimes schools will ask for what are called supplemental essays, which is to say essays that are written in addition to your main personal statement. And many times the prompt is asking you to write about an extracurricular activity. So I say, save your extracurricular activities for your extracurricular activity essay and write about something else for your personal statement. Now, okay, you're probably wondering, all right, Ethan, so you've told me all this stuff about what not to do. How do I actually find a great personal statement topic? Here are 3 exercises that I like to recommend that'll help you generate some ideas. And then I want to share with you some of the example essays that they led to. The first exercise is called the 5 things exercise. And it's pretty simple. You basically make a list of 5 things in your life that somehow connect. So it could be, for example, the 5 photographs that you keep, behind your bed. Or it could be, 5 pairs of shoes that you wear, and each one shows a different side of who you are. It could be 5 different places that you've been to that meant a lot to you. 5 souvenirs. Each one connects to a different place that you've been to. You see where I'm going with this? So basically you're gonna sit for, let's say 5 minutes and think about what are some different 5 things that might link to different areas of my life. So let's take a look at an example essay. This is from the student who wrote about the 5 photographs on the wall behind her bed. Golden light streaks my bedroom. It's 6 a.m. Before my family rises, I'll have completed half my day's to-do list. But before I start, I look to my wall, where 84 and counting 2x4 by 1.8 glossy Polaroids hang in 14 uniform rows. Top row, 4 Polaroids over, I sit beside my Chinese grandmother speaking Mandarin. So you see where she's going with this? Now, there were 84 different photos above her bed, but she chose 5 of them in her essay to write about, and each one shows a different side of her. In the first one, she talks about her family, in this case, her Chinese grandmother, and what she's meant to her. In the next paragraph, she says, images of acrylic paints, calligraphy pens, and camera equipment are woven into the sea of snapshots. So this shows her artistic or creative side. And this 5 things is not limited to the things I mentioned. It could be almost 5 anythings. The key is making sure at the start of your essay, whatever your topic is, 5 photographs, 5 decisions, that you make it clear in the first or second paragraph. The second exercise that I like to recommend is what I call the 21 details exercise. And again, it's dangerously simple. So you take a blank sheet of paper and you fill it with 21 random facts about yourself. It could be something about an experience you had a long time ago that you forgot until you started writing this exercise. It could be something like just a quirk that you have, like a thing you like to do every morning. It could be something connected to something that you're really proud of. So you're gonna make a big list of these. And again, try to get to 21 because when you do 4 or 5, it's fine. But when you start to get to like 17, 18, 19, they start to get a little weird and a little bit more interesting. And you never know what might come out of this. So I've seen students write, for example, Cheers, the 80s TV show, is my favorite TV show. And that actually led to a personal statement topic where the student wrote about how each of the characters in Cheers represented some different aspect of the student. I've seen students write about things like, their love for the game Settlers of Catan. And that ended up turning into like a personal statement topic. I've also seen this exercise yield things like a student writing about his happiness spreadsheet, which is to say a spreadsheet that he keeps with 2 of his friends where he tracks what he did that day and how, on a scale of 1 to 20, how happy he was. That, I thought, made a great essay topic because, of course, he could jump around to all these different moments in his life and show all these different sides of himself. Another thing that I love about this exercise is, yes, it can help you generate potential personal statement topics, but it's also going to help you generate topics for those supplemental essays, which again are those essays you're going to need to write potentially if you're applying to selective schools besides your personal statement. So let's take a quick look at an essay that was generated from the 21 details exercise. So this is a student who identified as having a natural quote-unquote mom vibe. And in fact, that became her first sentence of her essay. So it could be that your 21 details line ends up becoming the first line. On my volleyball team, she writes, I am team mom in every way. As a natural worrier, I like to make sure everyone has all their necessities. Knee pads, water bottle, hair elastic, uniform. Did everyone go to the bathroom before leaving on the bus? Did we count to make sure all 14 of us are here? So you kind of see where she's going with this, right? She says at the start, and this is her topic, I have this mom vibe. And in the first paragraph, she talks about how it manifests with her volleyball team. Notice the next paragraph. A few years ago, I transitioned from looking after only my teammates to also helping actual children. I started volunteering at my former elementary school as a teacher's assistant. Now you can see how this is going to show another side of her. Not just volleyball, but also working as a teacher's assistant. In the rest of this essay, she basically talks about how this natural mom vibe manifests itself in different areas of her life. So this is a great one, and like I said, you never know where the 21 details are going to go. The third exercise is called I love, and it's really simple. The way it works is basically sitting for a minute or two and just making a list of things that you love. So for me, I love the color blue. I love making these videos. I love teaching. I love the mountains. I love ping pong. And I would just make a random list. And if I was doing this with a friend, they might type for me while I talk, and then vice versa. And what I love about this exercise is that this can be a great opportunity to generate some potentially elastic topics, which is to say, if you love it, chances are you know a lot about it. In fact, you can do a part 2 of this exercise where you make a list not only of things you love, but things you know a lot about. And this could actually lead to a montage essay topic. Here's a quick example. So this student wrote about pranks. She begins her essay, once a teacher challenged me to make an assignment as difficult to grade as possible. What he failed to remember is that I am a programmer. It was quite a simple program, taking my answers, translating them into Morse code, and spitting them out. Oh, and repeats were allowed. By my calculations, it would have taken him at least 8 hours to grade and could last for days. You see, the monotony of life is enough to drive a girl crazy. Everyone copes with this with some activity. I keep saying, with pranks. And so what she does here is she loves pranks, and she talks about how different pranks have, demonstrates basically different sides of her personality. So this was an elastic topic, is something that she knew a lot about, and it allowed her to show different sides of herself. What's great about this topic is that, one, it's somewhat uncommon, so you won't see a lot of students writing about pranks. And for her, it was also very elastic, which is to say, it was stretching up to talk about different sides of herself. So that's kind of what you're looking for when you're looking for, like I said earlier, a montage topic. Now, having said all this, there's some of you out there who are maybe thinking about this and going, I don't know if X is going to work or if Y is going to work. Here's the thing. Don't overthink this too much. Do these simple exercises, spend 5 to 10 minutes on each one, and then pick something and try it. Try creating a simple outline. So you might take something like pranks, for example, and think, okay, what are 3 to 5 pranks that I played and could they connect to different sides of me? If so, great. If not, don't worry about it. But if you're thinking that it might work, go ahead and try it. Just spend 20 minutes and jam out either a more comprehensive outline or just try a draft. If it's not working, don't worry about it. Now, some of you out there are overthinkers like me, and you're like, well, I want to make sure I get the right topic before I start working on it. Chances are you're not going to know if a topic's going to work until you try it. So if you've got something that you think might work, go ahead and write a quick outline to see if you think, okay, I feel like I could get some paragraphs in here, and then try it. If it doesn't work, try something else. Spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes on each of these exercises. You should have a bunch of options. I hope you found this video useful. You'll find tons more at collegeessayguide.com. If you've got any questions, or if there's a particular thing you'd like me to cover in a future video, you can write that in the comments below. Hit me up with a little like or subscribe if you'd like more videos, and have an awesome week.